Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a psychic reading on Chris Hemsworth. He's a very popular actor. He is well known for his movie role as Thor and other movie roles out in Hollywood. He is an Australian native, and he, has been and featured in a lot of films. So this was actually requested by one of my viewers, and I'm just excited to do a reading on him. So I'm going to just go ahead and dive in, see what I see around Chris for 2018, 2019. Any information that comes through. So immediately when I tap into his soul energy, what I do get out of Chris is that he's a very honest and almost an angelic type of man. I feel like he has his mind really set. He has a good heart. He's not one to betray other people or try to push over other actors or actresses to get to any kind of role that he's wanting or success. He's very open about life and about his views. A very spiritual person, very warm and kind-hearted. I get just good energy from him. I do feel like though he is a deep empath, and so he would feel a lot of energies around the people that are around him, whether this is an acting when he's in a movie role on set, or if he's in Australia and he's around people that are fans. He can feel energies very, very strongly, and I get that he's just an all around a good person. I do feel like right now he's being strong for his family. I do get within the family itself that there is a strong female energy. This would be a mother figure. I would I feel like it would be his mother or someone that's a little older, that is a female energy that is living, and I get that there may be some situations that she's going through right now health-wise, where he may be a little concerned, but for the most part, he loves his family very much. I feel like they do support him, and he has that strong level of support, and he's at a point in his career where he just wants to, continue to expand on his family and take care of his existing family. So I feel like there's a lot of responsibility around, around him. I do get that though, he's not one that's like shallow when he's in his movie roles. I feel like that's something that a lot of the people in Hollywood really admire about him, like the producers and the people in the movie sets. When it comes to it, he is very authentic to himself. He doesn't put on any kind of facade, and he's just very, much aware of who he is. And he's not, one to just pretend, even though he's an actor, what you see is what you get. Um, when it goes into his relationship, I'm going to get into that next slide here. This is Chris and Elsa Pataki. Um, that is her stage name, or her the name that she's well known for, but I believe she has a different name, and she's actually Spanish origin, if I'm not mistaken. Very beautiful lady. This is his wife, and I believe they have 3 children together. I do feel like these two are soulmates, and I feel like she does complete him. I feel like before she met him, she was a fan of him, very much infatuated with him, but they have a lot of things in common. I feel like their ideas, their principles, very much in love still, and I feel like they do things, within the relationship to kind of keep that freshness, so that nothing is stagnant in that relationship and everything continues to grow and blossom. I do feel like they may have, at least one more child. This may be up in the air, but I do feel like there is at least one more child, uh, for them, uh, God willing, and they want that as well. But I do get like there would be one more child. I do feel like this is a long-term relationship. I feel like, he's very open, like I said, very faithful. I don't get that he's a cheater at all. I don't get that at all from him. I don't get that, he would be looking at other women and, flirting. That's just not his nature, and I feel like she's the same way with him. She has that level of trust, and she knows that he's a faithful person, and she wouldn't be with him either way, if he wasn't. So she really does trust Chris, and she does love him with all her soul. And I get that they are together, planning a future for themselves. I don't know if where they're living right now, which is in, I believe, Byron Bay. I could be wrong with the name, but it's in Australia where they're living right now. And I just get that there's a plan to like build a home, another home. So I don't know right now if this is a temporary residence that they would be living in, but in a couple of years there, I feel like there is a move, and I keep seeing a construction of a house. So either they're going to be moving to another place in Australia that has a, in the same city or in that same area, but a bigger home, or it would just be expanding the home that they currently have. But I do get that there is some kind of expansion within that confines of their home. Um, I do feel like she does worry sometimes about, his stress levels, um, and him being an empath. Sometimes he can get a little depressive, and just start to thinking about things that are happening in the world, and I feel like she's kind of worries a little bit about him. She, is one of like a firecracker is how I would like to describe her. Her energy, very vibrant. I feel like she's very funny, and she, kind of makes him laugh. He tends to be a little bit more on the serious side at times, and again, this is going back to him being an empath. So it wouldn't surprise me, that he has more moments of being serious than actually smiling or laughing a lot. But he knows how to have fun. Don't get me wrong. He's not, just a very serious person all the time. Um, and I do get right now that within 2 years from now, within either between 2018 and 2019, which is the time frame that I set for this reading, there is something legal going on. This could be more related to an issue within the family itself. One of the family members is going through something legal, but I do get resolution for that. Whatever the case is, I feel like it has to do something with like the settlement, and it has something to do with properties as well. So this is something that is more related to them in Australia, I feel, than more than his career. But I do get that basically everything is balanced out, and there would be money coming into his family. So whoever that, it feels like this is a male energy that this would be connected to. It could be his brothers, someone else in the family, but it is a male energy, and I do get that that is going to be resolved. Um, I do feel like there is something that that Chris needs to be aware of, and this would be more centered around temptations. I feel like he's very grounded. He doesn't have any kind of addictions or anything like that. But I feel like there may be someone that has their eyes on him, and it's almost like he would trust this person. This is what it's coming through, and this could be another male, and like a friend or an associate, but basically he'll trust this person and kind of confide in him, and he may already know who this is more or less. But I feel like there's some backstabbing that's going on, some jealousy, because he is a very established actor, and I feel like there's just some jealousy that is going on right now with Chris. So he just needs to be very much aware of that, in who he confides, and trust his intuition more than anything when it comes to this, because I feel like it's something that is very short-lived, but it is going to be something where they try to like either take a movie role from him, or not tell him about something on production or set. There could be some disagreements there, but I do feel like he's going to definitely overcome that. Again, this is short-lived, something just to keep his eye on within the next year and a half. I also do feel like he is now, he had a lot of adversity when he first started in his career, even though he landed that movie role Thor. I feel like, he had other work that he had done before, but there was a lot of struggles here and there, and now he's coming full circle. I feel like he is in a good spot in his career, so he's really not having to worry or work as hard to get movie roles and land them. More, more people in Hollywood, the producers and the people that are in charge of the movies, they know more or less like what roles he would take, what roles that he would want to do. I do feel like there is going to be some kind of casting or role which would kind of portray him in a more sexualized type of role, something that we're not common to seeing, almost like Magic Mike, but kind of like that. But I do feel like there's going to be more of a provocative type of role for him within the next 2 years. But it's going to be something that he's going to first say, I don't think this is going to be for me. I'm not that kind of guy that wants to just do that. But then he'll kind of, reason and think about that role and the success that he could have from that. And I feel like it's going to be something where he goes to Elsa, because I feel like he communicates everything with her, and he goes to her and basically, has a conversation, and then he will say, this is good. I'll go ahead and do it if you approve, and she'll approve. Not that he has to run everything by her, but I feel like they have this mutual understanding when it comes to the relationship. So I do feel like they're going to have this exchange conversation and take on this movie role, which is going to be good for him. But everything seems to be doing very well for him. I also feel like there are people who may have, made his life impossible there in Australia. People, again, other Australian actors or people who would, be kind of jealous of his fame now, that they think that maybe he's like too good, because, how some people are, when you reach a level of success, they're not necessarily rooting for you. They're against you because they don't like anyone to see, they don't like to see anyone more successful than them. And it's just, that's a very 3D, third dimensional state of consciousness type of energy and attitude to have. But for the most part, I feel like, he is going to see karma in its work. So anyone who would have hurt Chris, any time in his life, I feel like now he is going to be entering a period where he'll be able to validate and receive validation from the universe, from spirit, that a lot of these wrongdoings are now being made right. And a lot of the people that have done wrongdoings to him, that they would be held accountable. And he would be hearing about it or seeing about it. But overall, I do feel like, there is just, he's in a good place and his career is going to have longevity. I don't see any scandals necessarily around him. Like I said, he's very grounded, very different from his brothers. His brothers, I would have to do a separate reading on both of them, but they're different energies than Chris. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you did like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And if you'd like to set up a private reading with me, you can go to my website. That's www.raymondguzman.net/shop. Blessings and love and light.